So, and speaking to my own life, because I don't want anybody else telling my story, I get really tired of seeing that. I just get really tired of seeing it because it's like I found my group and my collective of people that I can relate to, but still I have this backlash, and they do too. People that want to tell their story for that, don't bother. You cannot do those things. You think you can jump in someone's skin and tell their story, don't you? Well, you can't. You can't feel that pain, can you? No, you can't. And so you didn't feel the pain of the bruises I've got all over my body, did you? Nope. You didn't feel that pain of the veins within my body, did you? Nope. You didn't feel that pain within my knees, did you? Nope. So, in trying to tell someone else's story, I don't know where you got off track, but beautiful souls, don't do that, because I promise you, it's that easy. It's that easy just to jump right in line and do what everybody else does. Why? Why? If you know there are so many wrongs and such inequalities, and you jump in that same line, what do you think you're going to see? The same inequalities or worse then. So my thought was, instead of to educate and find ways to actually deal with these things holistically, not pharmaceutically, holistically, with art, with music, with different forms of therapy. And I focus solely generally on the youth, and that's what I do, just because I know how easy it is to get cycled into that system. And it's like this never ending maze you can't find your way out of because you were led astray. One, you were told this was a fair and equal court system. It's not. Two, that you wouldn't have any consequences for accepting these charges. Wrong. You do. Three, that would define the person that you are. Wrong. It does not define the person that you are. The opus number doesn't define you. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It might be an easy way to find you, but it does not define you. It's not define who you are and who you will be. So, again, not gonna say a bunch of names because I see a lot of it, and I'm just like, I'm turning the page because I'm scrolling right through this because you can't expect to try to understand or comprehend someone else's pain or what they've gone through. Let them do that. Let them do that. If they can do that, let them do that. That's their right. Respect that. Can you do that? Is that something that's agreeable that you can do? You cannot own someone else's pain. You cannot own someone else's day. You cannot own someone else's skin. You cannot own someone else's eyes. You cannot own someone else's lips, teeth. None of those things in heterodyne. You cannot own those things. Don't believe a lie. You cannot own those things. It's just a market share for human and AI integration. And if you don't believe those things, be disbelief. Be in disbelief. But being in disbelief isn't going to educate you to help yourself. It's just not. So you can disbelieve whatever you'd like, but look up core syllabuses with all these Ivy League colleges, and you're going to understand. Then, I mean, that's about all you have to do is look up, human and AI integration, and there it is, right in front of you. That's not something you can really easily bypass. It's there. It exists. It's just what it is. And so, what I was hopeful for was a different piece in market share where the people that were, already augmented, would actually get percentages and links in to those places that were already stitched in, you know, links in for different things, because whenever someone sees and says, hey, this is a disorder, okay, why? Because your medical book said so. Okay, well, let your medical book say whatever, but that's not what I saw. When you saw disorder, I saw exactly what was supposed to be there, and the love that was behind the face. I didn't see a disorder. I saw every bit of beauty that was in that person. So, but I didn't tell their story either, because I cannot do those things and call myself a human being. I cannot do those things and call myself human at that point. At that point, I'm just Not even animalistic in nature. I'm just a savage. Not even to put a word to it. You really can't even place a word on it. You know, I can't tell someone else's story for them. So I'm not going to pretend to do so. I cannot. I don't want to feed someone else's flames in a smoke spot. I just don't. Do that nonsense on your own. You know? It's a monetized system as it is. And so what I would love to see is a way to integrate these people that are already augmented so they can benefit from that system as well. Considering, we're in it regardless. There's no way we're getting out of it, it seems. And those are my goals and my dreams, for 2026, is to live a life outside of those terms. Because that's not life on life's terms. Just living life on someone else's terms consistently. And so, when addicts say you have to take it one day at a time, legitimately with human and AI augmentation, it's like taking it 1 second at a time sometimes. In certain situations, it just really is, because ours has been and always will be just as it is, and should have been reported the same way, but wasn't. So I hope that someone hears that and they say, "Whoa, here's a different way and a different approach." Because what you didn't know, well, those systems were installed a very, 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 very long time ago, and so you don't know what a person's going through until they tell you. Don't try to walk a mile in my shoes. You will catch a hell of a bruise. Don't do it. I don't want to see you go through that type of pain. I just don't. Okay? I legit wake up in the morning, I'm like, let me count my bruises. And that's my day. As soon as I wake up. And then I thought to myself, well, what's a better way to ante up? Instead of counting bruises, let's count some change. I don't live your life, you don't live mine. Live yours and I'll live mine, okay? And don't talk about yours. So, please don't jump in mine. Let's be on the same team, and it's profit for both. And it doesn't seem that way, so, the jump off part, that completely off. We'd appreciate it, because it's been really painful for us. Not like a show to watch, Alright, cool. Peace and love.